So, folks, we have to talk a little bit about Trump derangement syndrome and the way that it has unbalanced things for the men who need their femoid companions. Okay? Too many of you for too long have snickered at the idea of men struggling to obtain their femoid sustenance. But now I present to you this latest article from the Columbus Dispatch. Trump Derangement Syndrome is getting in the way of my love life by Charles Robinson, guest columnist. Charles Robinson was a university professor for 40 years, overlapping with 30 years in the VA medical centers, helping veterans with spinal cord injury. I recently entered the online dating scene and have met nice women for Columbus area lunches or dinners in the process. After I thanked one, I got a thanks back with an additional note. I never asked you about your political views. I have no problem with Republicans, but if you are a MAGA Republican, it would be difficult for us to develop a friendship. That comment threw me for a loop, but it made me reflect on the bitter divisions within the country. It is literally a civil war. So I read this much of the article and then I thought to myself, oh God, I need to go over this with you guys. I need to go over this with you guys. My guy here is a retired university professor who went on a couple dates and got rejected because he's MAGA. And now he's going online writing op-eds about how we're in the middle of a fucking civil war. Dog. Maybe reflect on the reality that, you're the kind of person who would do this instead of just, getting better at going on dates. Reflect a little bit, my guy. For half a century, I've been a Goldwater Republican, and later became a Reaganite. Peace through strength was the motto. I do want to make America great again after its precipitous decline during the Biden presidency. I like much of what Trump 45 and 47 has done, dislike a few and scratch my head at others. He's brought pride back to America. Has he really? I don't think guys like this realize how utterly reviled Donald Trump and America is on the global stage. But okay. But dismay and disdain among the coastal elite. I'm literally from Minnesota, by the way. I'm not coastal elite. Just to head that off in the comments. I guess I could ask a return question. I have no problem with Democrats, but it would be difficult for me to develop a friendship with one who has blindly been to a No Kings rally, suffers from Trump derangement syndrome, uses the biased legacy media as their only source of truth, wants Israel to be put in its place, requires unlimited immigration and voting without an ID, desperately aims to completely abolish ICE, allows biological males in women's sports, and denigrates all MAGA as fascists or Nazis without understanding the real menace or meaning of those words. Dog is literally shadowboxing a lady who did not want to date him. Guys, can you imagine striking out so hard on a date that you then have to publicly embarrass yourself like this? This is like saying, my date pointed out that I shitted myself during a date. So just to prove her wrong, I went and shat myself in front of the entire town. It's just like, that's not... Dog, what are you doing? Dog, now everyone in Columbus knows you're a dipshit. I used many harsh adverbs, adjectives, and verbs in that question. Wait a minute, I can't also help but notice that you used something else in that question. Another part of speech that maybe you deliberately left out when you were listing parts of speech.
Fucking pronouns!
Wait a minute, that man was using pronouns! Get him! Blindly suffers, biased, only unlimited, desperately abolish and denigrates. I know some of these righteous people. One even referred to J.D. Vance as the so-called vice president. She was affronted when I disagreed and said he is the vice president. TDS goes that deep. Bruh, people like you were fucking beating Obama, like, in effigy in the streets when he got elected president. Like, fuck off. You never respected the fucking office. We need to find a middle ground where women will date me again. But I know many others who lean left and vote left on principle. I can have rational conversations with them. I visited Israel and Palestine a decade ago. The scars of the 1948 partitioning still remain. Israel has the right to defend itself, yet a peaceful branch of the Palestinians deserves a home. Iran with a nuclear weapon would destabilize the region, but its great people deserve a government that provides them freedom. That's cool. So we shouldn't be bombing them, right? We shouldn't shouldn't be doing a genocide against them, right? We shouldn't be doing that, right? Right? Oh, jeez. Many MAGA feel that the Democrats did not open the border for humanitarian reasons. Once the Supreme Court said that the census was count all people, they felt the Dems saw it as a way to lessen the effect of outmigration on a liberal state's congressional appropriation. Who knows if that is true? I don't know. One could maybe, like, look it up. One could maybe, I don't know, do anything to try and fact check the assertion you're making. You know what? I'm just gonna go, oh, is this Chucklefuck talking about Trump v. New York? Like in like Trump #1, like they tried to mandate that the United States Census not count undocumented people, which in the past, to be very clear, the census is mandated to count every person in the United States, not every documented person, every person in the United States. It's so that we have accurate data to base like policy making and lawmaking around, right? And when this guy is like, well, the Supreme Court said the census was to count all people, like it was a new fucking thing. But that's how the census has always worked. And the Supreme Court reaffirmed that in Trump v. New York. God, these people are silly stupid. This line of thought leads to Trump's push for nationwide voter ID laws. No, what leads to Trump's push for voter ID laws is the push by the American Legislative Executive Council in the early 1990s on behalf of the private prison the private prison industry, who are major contributors to the American Legislative Executive Council, one of the most powerful lobbying bodies in the United States. Or at least it was at one time. So, like, when this guy's like, well, did all of this led Trump to push for voter ID laws? Nah, he's wanted voter ID laws the entire time, specifically because Republicans have always wanted it. He's just a reflection of what you want. And by reflection of what you want, I mean reflection of what billionaires want. The left hates ICE. Some lawmakers and judges seem to support the idea that the victim is at fault when an illegal alien or undocumented immigrant commits a serious crime. Some of the radical left prevent ICE from doing its lawful job and legislate that local law enforcement officers should not help. It only makes neighborhoods less safe. There should be a middle ground. No, what makes neighborhoods less safe is mandating that local cops work with ICE. Can anyone take a stab at why that might be very dangerous? Anyone want to make a stab at a possible explanation as to why that might be dangerous? Police would protect ICE. That's one of the things. But also, immigrants won't trust police. Bingo, Forlorn79. It's because if cops are working with ICE, undocumented immigrants aren't going to report crimes to police, which means that there is even more of a marginalization happening in which criminality and crime can take hold and exploit this underclass for different criminal activities. Like, what's going on when, you have sanctuary cities is the idea that undocumented immigrants should be able to access local law enforcement without fear of being deported so that crimes can be reported and prevented. Like, that's the reason this exists. Otherwise, they're just not going to report the crimes, and more crime is going to be oriented towards undocumented immigrants. As a scientist in the medical field, I saw firsthand the disinformation the Biden administration put out about COVID, and the complacency of the mainstream and social media failing to challenge it. It resulted in many people rebelling against necessary vaccines such as the measles vaccine. However, RFK might be headed in the wrong direction. Okay, but like, this is your op-ed, my guy. You could be a little bit more specific about what the Biden administration did that was so unforgivable to you. Because what was the misinformation? The best information we had at the time about COVID was that it was... Well, actually, wait, this isn't even put out... The COVID happened under Donald Trump. I'm sorry, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Like, COVID happened under Donald Trump. I don't even know why I was going along with his argument in the first place. Donald Trump was president when COVID happened. The entire initial response to COVID was pushed by Donald Trump. What the fuck is he talking about? This selective memory, like, genuinely, like, one of the only things that you could argue Donald Trump did okay at was getting the COVID vaccine out as fast as possible with Operation Warp Speed. Like, that is arguably the best thing he did as president. But, like, if you're gonna talk about misinformation, his administration was lying about COVID the entire time. Does anyone else not remember the fact that he was trying to shut down reporting around COVID? And, like, massively deflating infection numbers, trying to shut down the CDC from talking about it? It's wild. He told people to inject bleach. I'm dying. I'm fucking dying here, guys. The absurdity of biological males in women's sports is a direct violation of Title IX. Hurts the rights perspective of those with different gender ideologies. Hopefully DEI and wokefulness will have seen their demise. As a university professor, I saw both the good and the harm they caused. We need a stronger school system to lift up those from disadvantaged backgrounds to a level where they can compete on merit. Maybe we should keep the Department of Education. I don't know, guy. These are some pretty severe problems you have with the Trump administration. Yeah, maybe we should keep the Department of Education. But yeah, maybe we should. God. Also, any woman would be completely justified in reading this and just being like, this guy's really weird. Look at him talking about, and like, he has an obsession with men and women's sports. It's very weird. This brings me to a final point. The heavily leftward biased traditional media, but also those on the right, is at fault for much of this. Objective facts are pushed aside and spin is put in their place. Trump can do no right or wrong. There's no question that Trump is bombastic, but I personally believe that the country is still a far better place with him as president than it would have been under the Harris presidency. I guess I'm MAGA light. America must be great again. Trump is trying, and sometimes to me, very trying. But he has us on the right path. God bless America. And now we have a picture of Charles Robinson and, dog, he's, not to rag on him, but, like, he's genuinely, when I imagine a MAGA chud, it's not too far off from this. All right? Anyway, I guess I failed to see, it feels kind of like a big deal that you said the country is in a civil war and then didn't elaborate on that in any way and instead just basically talked about how you haven't figured it all out, but there needs to be some kind of, mythical middle ground on a bunch of issues where you are fucking insane. Like, I don't know, guy. I don't think telling your next date that you're not MAGA, you're MAGA light. I don't think that's gonna fly. I don't think that's gonna get you a date number 2. I think maybe you need to, fix your heart or die. Like that. Genuinely, like when it comes down to for folks like this, it's like you need to like fucking spend some time introspecting and maybe understand why. Oh, hey, maybe the woman I was trying to go on a date with has like a gay son or like a trans niece, or maybe the women that I'm going after are, not too keen on the idea of having their civil rights eroded by an administration full of people who think it was a mistake for women to get the vote. Like, in your mind, you think you're making America great again, because you're bringing it back to the 1950s, forgetting that women weren't able to have individual bank accounts until the 1970s. You know, like maybe you're kind of like just one of those guys who's just kind of taken the way you've been treated in society as a white guy as if it's the way everyone in society is treated, and it's just not the case. Anyway, I just thought that was fun. Thank you for indulging me, everybody. If you got anything out of this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. Leave a comment on how you would change yourself and your ways in order to get a second date if you were Charles Robinson. And with that being said, get involved in politics, folks, because otherwise, like this guy's retired. He has free time. Okay, he's organizing politically. We need to organize politically even harder. All right. And I know a lot of you are younger. I know a lot of you have some gumption left in you. Okay, so you guys need to organize extra hard to like really counterbalance folks like this. All right. So join your local Dems, join your local DSA. If you need help doing that, going to your first meeting, finding your first meeting, join our Discord, reach out to GamerG for help with DSA, reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. And folks, you can also do some door knocking, phone banking, text banking, etc. with Progressive Victory. There's a link down below for you to get involved with them. And they work with progressive candidates all across the country. So check them out. Last but not least, folks, check out ImogeneOlivia.com, gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes, tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy, non-tucking lingerie. Check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. We just got a restock on everything. We got more sizes. We got a new color. Go check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat Jack is going to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord.